All right, so Bernie Sanders is headed down to Bessemer, Alabama to go support the union drive that, if successful, would result in the first Amazon union in the United States. So this would have gigantic ramifications for the labor movement in the United States, for other Amazon workers across the country who want to unionize. And it's just a really important fight that's going on. And Bernie Sanders is basically headed down there because some of the younger workers at these facilities don't seem to really understand the importance of unions and what unions are capable of giving them in terms of benefits and collective bargaining and wage increases, etc., and don't really understand the value of that. And so since Bernie Sanders is obviously popular with young people, he's headed down there to support it. And so he gave a pretty banal statement online about the union in Amazon. Obviously, he has been a vocal supporter of it, and an Amazon executive tried to fire back on him and got absolutely clobbered and obliterated on Twitter. So wanted to show you guys this and just give you a little bit more information about the union drive again, because again, this is a super important fight that we have going on here. So here's something that Bernie Sanders posted the other day. He said, "I look forward to meeting with Amazon workers in Alabama on Friday. All I want to know is why the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, is spending millions of dollars trying to prevent workers from organizing a union so that they can negotiate for better wages, benefits, and working conditions." So I've done a couple videos in the past if you want to go check them out on Amazon's anti-union tactics, the propaganda campaigns that they've done. I mean, it was ridiculous, extensive, terrible anti-union propaganda campaign that they had been waging down there, spending millions of dollars because they understand that unions are powerful. Unions are the way that workers can have a unified voice to bargain for better conditions in their wherever they are working, and Amazon knows this, and so of course Amazon doesn't want their workers to form unions because it would mean they would have to be giving them better wages, better benefits, better working conditions, etc. And we've seen over the course of the pandemic how terrible some of the conditions in some of these Amazon warehouse facilities have been, with workers getting exposed to COVID and being underpaid and having to work in really unsafe conditions because of these ridiculous productivity quotas that Amazon wants, and because they've been ramping up productivity. So while Jeff Bezos increases his net worth by literally tens of billions of dollars, lots of Amazon workers are struggling to get by and struggling to stay safe. But even given that, Dave Clark here, okay, Amazon executive, here's his bio. He says, husband, father, CEO of Amazon Worldwide Consumer. So that's who this guy is. And he responded to Bernie Sanders by saying, "All we want to know is why the senator is one of the most powerful politicians in Vermont for 30 plus years, and their minimum wage is still only $11.75. Amazon's minimum wage is $15 plus great healthcare from day one. The senator should save his finger wagging lecture until he actually delivers in his own backyard." Okay, so this is absurdly stupid, all right? As David Dole points out here, and I have it in a different article here. But yeah, Bernie Sanders, a federal representative, okay? Senators are federal representatives. They don't have control over state minimum wages. It's literally that simple. This was a ridiculously stupid response from the Amazon executive here. Vermont GOP governor vetoes minimum wage increase. Obviously, Bernie Sanders does not have control over Vermont's minimum wage, but he is fighting relentlessly for minimum wage increases at the federal level. So just a bizarrely stupid response here. All it would have taken is a quick Google search to understand why this is stupid. But in addition to that, he phrases this entire thing as if Amazon unilaterally by themselves, out of the goodness of their hearts, decided to start paying people $15 an hour. That's not at all what happened, okay? In fact, Bernie Sanders actually had a hand in Amazon raising their wages to $15 an hour. Amazon is raising its minimum wage to $15 an hour following pressure from Bernie Sanders. Wow, would you look at that? So Bernie Sanders basically introduced this bill. Sanders has attacked Amazon for the amount that it pays its workers and introduced a bill in September called the Stop Bad Employers by Zeroing Out Subsidies Act, or Stop Bezos Act, which would tax large companies whose low-wage employees rely on government assistance. So this is a really important point that Bernie Sanders frequently points out, is that American taxpayers are subsidizing these companies who are underpaying their employees because, and this is an argument you could make to conservatives even, because conservatives don't like the welfare state. They don't like, what they call handouts. Well, okay, if you wanted to shrink the size of the welfare state and how many people are on benefits and food stamps, etc. from the government, well, you as a taxpayer are subsidizing the fact that some of these massive corporations are not paying their employees a living wage. And so when you have companies like Walmart, or whether it's Amazon or any of these other companies who are paying their workers less than a living wage, then those workers have to go sign up for government assistance. And then we as the American taxpayers are in effect subsidizing starvation wages from these companies. So that's what this bill was addressing, and that's why Amazon folded under pressure. So don't let them pretend as if they raised their wages to $15 an hour out of the goodness of their hearts or something. That's just complete bullshit. Give credit to Bernie Sanders more than anybody on this. But then it continued on. He says, I welcome Senator Sanders to Birmingham and appreciate his push for a progressive workplace. I often say we are the Bernie Sanders of employers, but that's not quite right because we actually deliver a progressive workplace. For our constituents, a $15 minimum wage, healthcare from day one, career progression, and a safe and inclusive work environment. That is absolutely obviously not true. We've seen many of these stories over the course of the pandemic of them exposing their workers and forcing their workers to work in unsafe conditions, and then firing people who complain about it or try to organize against it. So if you want to hear about the $15 an hour in healthcare, Senator Sanders will be speaking downtown, but if you would like to make at least $15 an hour and have good healthcare, Amazon is hiring. So yeah, this is bullshit for obviously the reasons that we just stated. With Amazon didn't do this out of the kindness of their hearts. They only offer a $15 minimum wage, credit to Bernie Sanders in large part. But in addition to that, obviously, this is bullshit for a number of other reasons, because, for example, so they say Senator Sanders is only speaking about it, and if you would like $15 an hour and good healthcare, Amazon is hiring. So the $15 an hour, yes, that is higher than the minimum wage. That is higher than the federal minimum wage. So to say like, oh, well, we're paying our workers slightly more than starvation wages, that's, first of all, not something to brag about. But in addition to that, in that specific industry, in the warehouse industry, is actually substandard. So when Amazon moves a lot of these warehouses into some of these communities, they can go and, create this appearance as if, oh, we're offering twice what the federal minimum wage is. Aren't we so progressive? Aren't we so generous? But in reality, specifically warehouse wages, the median wage for your average warehouse worker that would be working in a comparable place, is actually much higher than $15 an hour. So when Amazon moves their warehouse facilities and some of these logistical facilities into some of these communities, it actually, in many cases, ends up driving wages down for those communities in comparable positions, because Amazon is paying less for the position within these warehouses than other competition. So it's complete bullshit to insinuate as if they are the industry leaders in warehouse facility payment, okay? That's not, or warehouse facility wages. That's absolutely bullshit. They're actually paying less than the median wage for that job. So not anything to brag about there. But then this beef continued and got even weirder. So here's Representative Mark Pocan pointing out, paying workers $15 an hour doesn't make you a progressive workplace. It's literally the bare minimum, honestly. When you union bust and make workers urinate in bottles. So they obviously have been engaging in all of these widespread union busting practices with the warehouse facility in Bessemer, but also the urinating in bottles story. So he's alluding to these claims that were made in a number of different facilities where workers, because of Amazon's harsh productivity standards and, the fact that they said basically they're treating their employees as robots and acting as if they can, be perfectly efficient 100% of the time. And it got to the point where workers felt so pressured by these standards that Amazon had set up that they were literally skipping bathroom breaks and had to pee in bottles so that they wouldn't miss their quotas. So that's what he was alluding to there. And Amazon News fires back here and says, you don't really believe the peeing in bottles thing, do you? If that were true, nobody would work for us. The truth is that we have over 1 million incredible employees around the world who are proud of what they do and have great wages and healthcare from day one. We hope you can enact policies that get other employees to offer what we already do. So, yeah. This is complete bullshit, okay? This is how abusers talk, literally. I mean, this is literally how abusers in an abusive relationship speak with the gaslighting here. I mean, you don't really believe that our workers are peeing in bottles, do you? If that were the case, then nobody would work for us. What the fuck kind of a logic is that? When you move into these communities, right? When Amazon facilities or Amazon, whatever it may be, moves into a lot of these facilities, then what happens? In a lot of cases, they destroy local small businesses. And so they become, and this, applies not just to Amazon, but Walmart and all of these other big box stores and stuff, is they move into these communities, completely destroy the small businesses around there, and limit the options that people have for job opportunities. So in many cases, for them to say like, oh, you wouldn't be working here if those conditions were so bad. Well, in many cases, people don't have other opportunities. They don't have other, good paying jobs around. Why? Well, in many cases, because you, Amazon, forced them out of business. So it's not as if we have like some perfectly meritocratic job market where, there's plenty of jobs to go around that are great paying jobs that have perfect working conditions and, great benefits, etc. That's bullshit, okay? It's completely ridiculous to suggest. And again, this is really how abusers talk, right? Oh, you wouldn't, if you really believe that I was abusing my spouse or whatever, then she wouldn't be staying with me, right? If I was really being abusive, then why would they be staying with me? This is how abusers talk, okay? It's just gaslighting. So all in all, this is ridiculous. Obviously, I 100% support the union drive in Bessemer, Alabama. Unions are a fantastic way. In fact, they are the best and most direct way to counterbalance the capitalist structure that we have in our economy right now. Our economy is incredibly undemocratic, and unions are the first step in pushing us towards a democratic economy because it allows workers to have a unified voice to collectively bargain for better wages, better benefits, better working conditions, etc. And that's what this is really all about. That's why Amazon is working so hard to do this propaganda, is working so hard to union bust, because they know the power of unions is great. So, fully support the Amazon union drive. We're getting into the crunch time now, and all credit to Bernie Sanders for joining in this fight. But yeah, I really hope the Amazon union drive succeeds, because this could be hugely impactful for the future of the labor movement in this country.